Chris Fitzgerald from the Louisville Jazz Society here, filling in for Glenn Crothers. I'm talking today with Meghan Pund, who is leading a quartet that will be featured on our next Signature Series concert. That concert will take place Sunday, February 26th at 7 p.m. at the Pigment Gallery in the Melwood Arts Center. Meghan, welcome, and thanks for taking the time to be here for this interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We'll talk about the specifics of the upcoming show in a bit, but to start off, can you describe the path that led you to the saxophone and a little bit about how you first became interested in jazz? And I know that's a huge topic, but hit not just the cliff notes, but also not the novel, somewhere in between.
Oh God. All right. I'll start from the beginning. I got interested in music when I started playing recorder in the 4th grade. No, I'm kidding. But really, I played piano before that, and it was cool, but I was studying with kind of a rigid teacher. Not into it. I got into a wind instrument, and I was like, oh, this is more fun. And then I started playing clarinet in the 6th grade, and, as well as any rural 6th grade clarinet player learns to play the clarinet. But as I got into middle school, I heard, actually jazz was one of the first things I was interested in, but I just didn't have a route to, or an outlet to find out more about it. So I was always interested in it. I got jazz CDs. My first CDs were a Duke Ellington CD, Count Basie, the Atomic Basie album, and then a Glenn Miller album, and then a J.J. Johnson album.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's, my dad went to a CD store and he was like, hey, what jazz do you have? And that's what came back. So I listened to them a lot and I love jazz, but I did the concert band route and I played clarinet. And, I played saxophone badly in jazz band and stuff. And I went to college for classical clarinet. I heard my clarinet professor play Stravinsky's 3 Pieces, and that day was the day that I decided to be a musician. I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do with my life. You can do something so cool like that. I want to do that. I want to be like that guy. He's, great at this, and that's really cool. So I went to college and studied orchestral clarinet performance. But I had the ability to take some extracurricular music classes. I took a jazz history class, and I was in the jazz band because my university was really small. So one of the professors, my summer of my freshman year, so right after my first year of college, he was like, hey, we have this scholarship through our jazz society to attend this jazz camp. And no one even applied. If you just write an application, you're going to get it. Would you be interested in it? And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. I had no idea. I was thinking oh, cool, I'm going to go play in a big band for a week. I took it. I took the scholarship and I went to the jazz camp, and it was Jamie's camp.
Small world.
Yeah, and I went to Jamie's workshops, and that just blew my mind more than anything. I was like, oh my God, music can be so collaborative and so spontaneous. And, more than anything, I think the community around jazz is what drew me in. Because at the time, like I said, I was studying the orchestral stuff, and they're a little bit more guarded in most circumstances, the people that play that music. The really great ones, I think, are just as great as the jazz ones. But I don't know, I was really drawn to the jazz community as well as the music. So after that, I started listening to more and more jazz. Still studying clarinet. I made it through my degree in classical clarinet. I should have, I wouldn't change anything, I guess, but I thought about transferring and trying to do a jazz degree, but I was always too scared. So anyway, I kept coming back to Jamie's camps every summer during college. And, at some point, my junior year, I decided, I'm going to pursue, my next degree is going to be in jazz. But to do that, you have to play the saxophone better than a mediocre clarinet player, saxophone player kind of. So I took a year off after my undergrad, and I studied saxophone and worked at Starbucks. And
I'm sure you're not the first.
Yeah. And I had moved to Louisville from Indiana, and so I was able to go out and listen to people playing in Louisville, and there's such a great scene here, and the people are so accepting and so welcoming, and I really appreciated that about Louisville. And I got to sit in on jam sessions. There was one at the Rudyard Kipling that that was my first place that I would ever play. I was so terrified to play at jams because like I didn't play the saxophone and I was new to improvising, you know. But the Rudyard Kipling was like the place where like Craig Twaddell and Kendall Carter would like pull me up there and they'd be like, you're gonna play a blues, okay, like, you know. And then there's a big band that I played in called Your Friendly Neighborhood Big Band, and this guy named Joe Dunn wrote all the charts. And they would make me blow. Like George Flores was the saxophone section leader guy, and he'd be like, Megan, you're soloing on this one, and I would freak out, but you know, I'd have to solo. And I loved it. In retrospect, you know, I'm so glad they did it because I would have been petrified to even try otherwise if people hadn't pushed me. But yeah, I came to the university here in Louisville and I did my jazz degree, and I am out in the world making jazz music now, which is kind of incredible to me.
Yeah, that is incredible, and I've actually been around to see a lot of this, and I think it's fantastic because you've done exactly what a student should do who is serious about the music, so I can testify to that. Really quickly, who are a couple of your main influences on the saxophone, and how did they inspire you?
So, I've always loved jazz, but classical music really influences me. I'm really interested in like the emotive aspects of music and like making it mean something. So I'm influenced, as far as genres go, I'm influenced a lot by classical music and the expressive qualities, I guess, of it. And jazz can be so expressive, but I think a lot of times people get caught up in the theoretical and the energy aspects of it, where it's just like really intelligent, really energetic music. But anyway, so that genre-wise, I'm influenced by jazz a lot, but also by classical music. And then as far as like people on the saxophone, I mean, it's really hard to just pick a couple, but I guess my early influences were John Coltrane, for sure, and Charlie Parker. I know it sounds so like, you know, stereotypical, but like being around the people I was around, they showed me like Jamie Aebersold, you know, he's like, you need to listen to these people. And through listening to a bunch of the different people, I really did enjoy Charlie Parker and John Coltrane, and Sonny Rollins is really interesting to me. And then, you know, now I'm more into like Sonny Stitt and the bebop stuff and Cannonball Adderley, and as far as the guys that aren't really alive anymore, but living guys, yeah, Chris Potter is my hero.
Yeah, good hero to have. Well, tell us a little bit about the upcoming show. Who are the other performers and what kind of repertoire will you be presenting?
So it's a quartet. I'm going to play saxophone and some clarinet. During the pandemic, I was able to start practicing improvising on the clarinet. And it's really more of my voice than anything, I think. I love the saxophone. It's fantastic and it's much easier to play. But I'll be playing clarinet and saxophone. And then my husband, Diego Lira, will be playing piano. I think he's looking forward to that. And Ryan McGillicuddy, he teaches at Moorhead State University, will be playing bass. And then Mike Hyman will be playing drums.
Okay, fantastic. What about the repertoire?
The repertoire. So, to be honest, the music making experience for me, the most important thing is that it's conversational. I'm not so attached to like a particular style of music that I would program an entire concert set to be just one thing. I just want to have a great conversation with the people that I'm playing with. So given the people that I'm playing with, I've been writing some. I'm not sure if I'll use any of that because I'm, you know, self-conscious like anyone, and I don't know if it's ready to be out there. But definitely some standards, you know. There's a lot of standards that I'm very interested in playing with this group to see what we can make of them.
Okay, fantastic. We look forward to hearing the show. Again, the Meghan Pund Quartet will be performing on Sunday, February 26th at the Pigment Gallery and the Melwood Arts Center. Tickets are available at the door and also through the Jazz Society website at louisvilljazz.org.